All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Jay, take it over for a second. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Hey, folks. Oh, Wayne. Oh, there we are. Welcome to Tuesday. And I gotta say, we were talking last night about what we were gonna talk about on the show today. And I have to say, more stuff has broke this morning than you can even imagine. I mean, we have the Trump indictment we were gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about some election stuff, but breaking news for those who haven't heard. Hunter Biden release came out that he's going to be charged with 3 federal crimes, which makes a great highlight and a nice headline. And the left is going to use that to say, see, nobody's above the law. Nobody's above the law. Hunter Biden pled guilty to 3 deals, and we haven't seen the information yet. But here's what we know. We know he's charged with 2 cases of tax evasion that were pled down to a misdemeanor from a felony. So understand, in Trump's case in New York, they take it from a misdemeanor to charge it up to a felony. Now, granted, that's the state of New York. But in the federal case, they plead it down from a felony to a misdemeanor. And then the gun charge blows me away because you've got a felon who's getting a gun, and it's against the law, and they're going to plead that down to a misdemeanor. He's going to get no jail time. He's going to spend no time in the hoosh cow, and they're going to tell us that's equal treatment under the law. And the worst thing is, they don't even go public with what are the charges, what's the information, what about the prostitution. It's beyond ridiculous. Wayne, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a double standard. I know if I was up for the same thing, I would have got the worst jail that anybody could ever imagine. He's not getting anything, and honestly, this is less than a slap on the wrist for him.
Right.
This is less than a slap on the wrist. I mean, this shuts down basically everything. Now, they're probably going to have some investigations on, well, how did you come to this? But other than that, that's it's over. It's over for, 5 years. This is done. And actually, the show was basically that the time is being run out.
Right.
On the Hunter Biden investigation. I mean, it didn't just start. It started like close to 5 years ago. The statute of limitations from Andrew McCarthy. I think that's what his name is. He was like, yeah, this thing is October 2023 is basically what we're looking at to come up with. Well, he said that's a drop dead date, basically. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Wayne Dupree, Jason Robinson. We are broadcasting on Red Voice Media Network. That's our home. That's our parent network. If you haven't been to that, make sure that you check it out at redvoicemedia.com. Click on the subscribe button, click on the subscribe button. Use the promo code Wayne. You will get access to a whole lot of the premium videos over there. Great voices. Something for a flavor for everybody. It's a flavor for everybody. In a few minutes, I'm getting ready to bring on Roger Stone.
What timing to have him on?
The situation is this. This is going to be a little crazy because with StreamYard only allows you to sign up through YouTube and Facebook. And Roger Stone is still suspended on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to have to make this an audio interview, but it's still going to be good anyway because he has got a lot to say. And I'm glad to have him. I'll be glad to have him on because Roger Stone really means a lot when it comes to politics. He's been in the business for a long time. He has helped many people get elected. He's behind the scenes on many other issues. So I'm glad. I asked him through Twitter. I was like, hey, Mr. I was like, Mr. Stone, is there a chance that that we can get you on the show? And he said yes. So glad to have him on. But yeah, this Hunter Biden thing.
Yeah, it's funny when we were talking about the show and we were going to talk about the statute of limitations expiring. I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to have to do something. And you knew they were with Trump. But let's even talk the PR ramifications. Trump gets drug through the mud. Here's the allegations. Let's release his indictment. Let's kind of half release the information that we have. Meanwhile, you've got Hunter Biden gets all that negotiated in private. There's no media circus. There's no any of that. And I mean, just the way the media handled this case has been ridiculous. They haven't even covered it.
Well, they're covering it now. I mean, because it's a pie in the face for Republicans. So right. Yeah, they are definitely going to cover it now. And Hunter Biden, who has been hiding or being invisible, he's going to be all out there now. He really don't care.
Right. Well, and why would you care? If you had that laptop with pictures of drugs and prostitutes and firearms and underage looking girls on there, the feds would have Wayne. They would have Wayne or JR locked up so fast. We would never see the light of day.
Look, I would be in the jail that's rusted. I would be in a rusted jail. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, believe me, here on the Wayne Dupree Show, we try to do what it do, and I'm so glad to have this awesome individual on. I met him one time. Can you believe this? I only met him one time in person.
Oh, really?
And it was during the GOP convention. But I'm glad to have him on the show for the first time ever, Mr. Roger Stone. What's up, Mr. Stone?
Wayne, I'm honored to be with you, and I want you to know I'm a regular listener and a longtime fan.
Man, let me tell you something. You know what? I watched a documentary of you, and I knew about you, but I didn't know about you. And I watched that documentary on you and saw how you basically gave the term Wonder Kid to Wonder Kid. You know what I'm saying? Especially during the time of Reagan, you did.
Well, look, I am a veteran of 12 national Republican presidential campaigns. I cut my teeth with Richard Nixon, the youngest member of his re-election staff. Worked for him earlier than that, 1968. Then for Governor Ronald Reagan in 1976, when we challenged Gerald Ford, the rhino of his time. And then again for Governor Reagan in 1980, when he became president, that handled his re-election. I was not much of a Bush Republican, still not. I did come in 2000 to help in the recount because I didn't want Al Gore to become president. And then, of course, I may be, other than Nixon himself, the first person in the country to urge Donald Trump to run for president as early as 1988, again in 2000, again in 2012. And then, of course, 2016 was the year in which the man and the time was exactly right. And it put him on the path to saving America.
Big news this morning. As you can, we were just talking about it just a few minutes ago about the Hunter Biden situation. What is your quick analysis on that, Mr. Stone?
Well, ironically, Wayne, I predicted this in an video interview a month ago.
Yep.
I said that Hunter Biden would get a slap on the wrists. I specifically said they'll give him some minor tax charges, plus they'll charge him with lying on the form to purchase a firearm. It's just another example of the two-tier justice system. John Brennan spies on Congress, then lies to Congress about spying on Congress under oath. He's never charged. FBI Director James Comey lies to Congress at least 234 separate times. He's not charged. Hillary Clinton lies under oath to Congress.
Right.
She's not charged. Rod Rosenstein, remember that weasel?
Yep, I sure do.
He lies to Congress, specifically said he didn't approve the investigation into Roger Stone by Robert Mueller. Of course, I have his signed document doing exactly that. He is not charged. James Clapper lies to Congress.
I remember that. Yep.
Data says, no, we have no metadata collection system for American citizens. That turns out to be a lie. No consequences for him. But Donald Trump, they want to put in jail for 400 years.
I know.
Based solely on fabricated charges. So the Department of Justice is bringing these minor charges against Hunter Biden when they have more than enough evidence to charge him with money laundering, influence peddling, bribery, lobbying on behalf of China, Russia, Romania, and Ukraine without registering Foreign Agents Registration Act. By the way, Paul Manafort did hard time for that. This is kabuki theater. This is so they could say, oh, you see, we charged Hunter Biden. Therefore, our charges against Donald Trump, they're not biased.
Exactly.
It's a joke.
Exactly.
It's a joke.
I didn't know if Roger could hear me. Hey, Mr. Stone, it's an honor to have you on the Wayne Dupree Show. I'm a huge fan of what you do, and thank you for all of your service to America over these past couple decades. So I would be remiss having you on the show and not ask you about the current document scandal. What kind of legal liability do you think Trump's really going to have when this is all said and done?
Well, it seems to me that the controlling law here is the Presidential Records Act. Judge Amy Berman Jackson, ironically, the Trump-hating judge who sat over my trial, who violated my constitutional rights, who withheld exculpatory evidence from my defense attorneys at trial knowingly, ruled that Bill Clinton could keep his presidential documents, in this case tapes, any place he wanted. In fact, that he had full authority to keep them and do whatever he wanted with them. That's the legal precedent. Has nothing to do with the Espionage Act of 1917. So if the president gets a fair trial, which I think in Florida, under Judge Cannon, he will, I expect him, frankly, to be acquitted. In fact, I expect ultimately, if the president is well represented with the right attorneys, which I don't think is the case today, I think there's a strong possibility these charges may be dismissed entirely. However, never underestimate the deep state. They're already working on filing charges in a different, more favorable jurisdiction where they can control the judge and the trial. Maybe it's New Jersey, maybe it's DC, it's not clear. But these charges are an outrage. I had David Schoen, who I think is the most able attorney in the country, who represented President Trump in the second impeachment, the Ukrainian impeachment, which we now know was staged to cover up for the very crimes that Hunter and Joe have now been nailed with. Let's be very clear. Joe Biden and his son each took a $5 million bribe from Burisma in order for Joe to use his influence to get the prosecutor investigating for Burisma and his son fired. And that's what they were seeking to cover up in the second impeachment. So I think that there's a high probability that the president could be acquitted in Florida, but they're already signaling their intention to charge him in other jurisdictions where they can manipulate a corrupted system more easily. And
that was one of the questions that I wanted to pose to you, because it looks like New York, the two in New York, the one in Georgia, they're saying, okay, we got to pull back until the federal thing is taken care of. But then they said that they would go after him after that. All this basically, we've even said they won't stop until they either put him in jail or that he at least serves some time. What do you think about that?
Well, the most outrageous announcement today is their intention to get to a trial this August. In other words, weeks from now. I think that's wishful thinking, because I imagine Trump's attorneys are going to make numerous pretrial motions, including a pretrial motion to dismiss the charges since they are bogus to begin with. I'm from New York. This is what we call a fugazi. It's a total fraud.
Gotcha.
And of course, I think we also understand that if elected president, Donald Trump can pardon himself of all of these charges, either after conviction or prior to conviction. And they know that as well. That's why they are moving at warp speed to try to get a trial in August, which is, of course, an absurdity. Explain to me why John Durham took 5 years to conduct his investigation.
I was wondering about that.
Based on everything he reported, Hillary herself could have been and should have been charged. Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor to her and now to Biden, could have and should have been charged. John Brennan, the CIA director, could have and should have been charged. James Comey, the CIA director, could have and should have been charged. You go right on down the line. Loretta Lynch, the attorney general, Rosenstein himself, that greasy little weasel. But again, that took 5 years, but we want to get Donald Trump to trial in a little more than 5 weeks. Absurd.
Right.
You know, expanding on that, I heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, but that his attorneys needed to sign off on this. And you mentioned earlier that it seems that he has a bad legal team advising him right now. Is it just really tragically that bad that they would agree to these?
I can't answer that question because I don't know. I think the president's made it pretty clear that he has not finally decided the team that will represent him on all of these matters. I think his current lawyers have already made small errors in the New York case. They should have moved to recuse the judge in the documents case, or I should say the business records case in New York, where, just to be clear, Donald Trump changed business records in 2017 in order to affect the 2016 election. Think about that for just a moment.
Wow.
They should have moved to recuse that judge who gave a contribution to Joe Biden. Here's your grounds right there. Boom. And by the way, even if you did not get a favorable ruling on that motion, you have laid the strongest possible argument to reverse any adverse decision on appeal. But they didn't do that. They waited until after the judge had ruled adversely against them. So I think that's kind of a rookie mistake. The president is in real serious legal peril here, not because he's done anything wrong, but because this is a broken, corrupted system.
Right. Let me ask you, what sort of advice do you have for MAGA supporters out there right now? Because as you know, some have tailed off and decided that they were going to support Ron DeSantis. Maybe even some might. I don't even know how they might, but some might join behind Christie. And some of the reason is, there's just it's just too much. It's just too much negative headlines and stuff. What type of advice do you have to say to MAGA supporters?
First of all, I think Chris Christie needs to run. Not for president. He just needs to run.
Lay off the donuts.
He has a 7% approval rating in New Jersey, where he is probably more hated than the current governor, literally despised. So the argument that he could carry New Jersey is out the window. He can barely carry himself to the next donut shop. He's running out of pure revenge. I didn't know that CNN gave town hall appearances to a guy who's not even at 1% in the polls.
Right.
But I guess if you're anti-Donald Trump, they'll give a town hall to anybody.
Yeah.
I live in Florida. Ron DeSantis is not who you think he is.
Oh, no. You know what? Hold on.
I don't mean you, but
right.
I was going to say, I think we know who Ron DeSantis is.
I think he is.
Right.
He is a treacherous, backstabbing weasel.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I mean, I know him well. He can't speak without cue cards. He makes no decision without his wife. In fact, she makes all the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He has no personality. He will never look you in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really like shaking hands, and he certainly never says thank you to anyone for anything. But more importantly, if he weren't for Donald Trump, in all honesty, he'd be managing a McDonald's right now.
Right.
And I was here. I mean, he was running at 7% in the polls. He had no chance whatsoever. All 67 Republican county chairmen in Florida had endorsed the state agriculture commissioner, Adam Putnam. Every single Republican state legislator in both houses, House and Senate, plus the House Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader, all endorsed Adam Putnam. Every single member of the Republican congressional delegation, with the exception of Matt Gaetz, had endorsed Adam Putnam. Putnam was leading, I think the last poll I saw was 43-7. When Donald Trump's tweeted endorsement propelled DeSanctimonious to the governor's office. And then, in all honesty, he was such a poor candidate that Trump had to change his schedule 3 times in the final 3 weeks of the campaign to come here and literally drag him across the finish line. So you think at 42 years old that he might have some gratitude. For those out there who think that his record on COVID is in any way different than Donald Trump's,
Right.
That's incorrect.
Right.
I live in a county, we were shut down until 2022. So his big executive order saying that the kids in the schools could not be required to wear masks, read the small print, folks. He left it up to the counties.
Right.
And the 7 largest counties continued to mask 3.7 million school children. You can always tell when Ron DeSantis is lying, Wayne. His lips are moving. His lips are moving.
There we go.
Hey, Roger, one quick thing before we go. So you've been a supporter of President Trump since long before he's in politics, and you thought he really had a vision to save America. And I mean, there's nobody more American than him, you know, self-made billionaire, tries and fails at all kinds of things and just keeps trying. So what words of encouragement do you have for MAGA? What kind of keep the faith message do you have for the MAGA? We got a ton of MAGA crowd here.
Well, look, the president has to run the table. He has to draw to an inside straight, if we were speaking in poker terms. But I think he's the only one who could potentially win a general election. I think there's a lot of voters out there who are not Republicans, didn't vote for Mitt Romney, that's for sure, didn't vote for John McCain, didn't vote at all in those elections, stayed home, but they will vote for Donald Trump and they won't vote for any other candidate. Right. That's why Trump is competitive in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, and those other candidates are not. So the whole argument that, you know, this, for example, that Ron DeSantis is a stronger general election candidate. No, he's actually a weaker general election candidate. Yep. Because with his Yale, Harvard, you know, stiff background, he can't reach those voters. They have nothing in common with him, and he doesn't have the common touch. I think, having been in this business a long time, I can tell you that likability is a key factor.
Right.
And Trump has a certain charm, a certain, I don't know, charisma, a certain stature. It makes him interesting. There's nothing interesting about Ron DeSantis, for example. So I would urge those out there who are listening to stick with Donald Trump because he's a winner, because he's a fighter. I had him on my new WABC radio show.
Congratulations on that, too.
Thank you. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. If you want to listen to that, you can go to WABCradio.com and download the whole interview. I thought he might give me 10 minutes, maybe 15. Was hoping for 20. He stayed essentially for the whole hour.
Yep.
And this was between the time that he was charged and the time that he was arraigned. And what hits me about it is how cool he was, how calm, collected, talkative, relaxed. I mean, look, I worked for Richard Nixon. I worked for Bob Dole. Both very, very tough guys, but neither one of them as tough as Donald Trump. He's the toughest human being I've ever met. He lets it roll down his back. And what people don't really understand is he didn't run for president because he wanted to be somebody. He already was somebody. He didn't run for president because he wanted a big fancy house. He's already got a nicer house, in all honesty, than the White House. And I've been in both. He didn't run because he wanted a big fancy plane. His plane is every bit as nice as Air Force One, maybe a little nicer. He didn't run it because he wanted the acclaim. He was the best known businessman on the face of the planet. Everyone knew Donald Trump. And it has been an enormous sacrifice for him to serve as president. It's cost him tens of millions of dollars. But he's doing it because he loves the country. He's putting himself through this again because he loves the country. Is there anyone out there who believes that if he was not running for president again, they would have brought charges against him? Because they wouldn't. This is all about the fear of the Democrat deep state media cabal that he's going to return as president. And this time, he knows a lot more about how it works. In other words, in his first term, he was surrounded by some people who thought their job was to slow down his agenda or dilute it or to kill it. And unfortunately, he went to Washington with the somewhat naive but understandable view that, okay, there's two parties, the Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans will be with me. The Democrats will be against me. He never dreamed that half the Republicans were trying to stab him in the back from the moment he was sworn in.
You know, that's such a critical point.
That I can assure you.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's such a critical point. People don't understand. They accuse Trump of hiring bad people, but who would have known the Republicans would have turned on him harder than the Democrats? It's insane.
And
the best example of this really is Mitt Romney. Just to be very clear, Mitt Romney does not live in Utah. He has family roots there, but he does not live there. The Attorney General of Utah, a Trump supporter, wanted to run for the U.S. Senate. Mitt Romney goes to Donald Trump and says, I want you to clear the field. Tell this guy not to run so I have no competition. Trump agrees and he clears the field. Then Mitt Romney says, I want your endorsement for the Senate. Trump endorses him. And then, just as his father, George Romney, knifed Barry Goldwater in the back, Mitt Romney gets to the Senate where he's, I think he's the only Republican who votes for impeachment and who has continued to knife Donald Trump in the back. So today, actually, on my 5 o'clock show at stonezone.live, I'm interviewing Trent Staggs, who is challenging Mitt Romney in the Republican primary in Utah, because that rhino's got to go.
Well, you know what, Mr. Stone, I have to get to my break, but man, you are my brother now, and I want to have you back on as soon as I can, because I really like to bring individuals on the show that have a whole lot of knowledge and education on how things really work. And as I said before, you've been in it, you know about it, you know how things run, you're seasoned, and a lot of people can learn from what you have done and what you can do. So I do appreciate you joining the show. Let everybody know how they can follow you and reach out to you.
I appreciate that. I do a daily show at 5 o'clock every day at stonezone.live. That's on many platforms. You can watch it on Rumble. You can watch it on Twitter, live streaming, watch it on Telegram, live streaming, and many other places, including frankspeech.com, by dropping down to Lindell TV 2. But if you go to stonezone.live every day at 5 o'clock Eastern, you can check that out. You can go to my website, stonezone.com, I've just revamped it. And all my most recent videos, most recent print pieces are there. You can also go to the store there and get your Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt or any of my books or your very own signed Roger Stone, which is a white stone to which I have signed my name, which is a paperweight and for no other purpose. I would really appreciate if folks want to go to stonezone.com. It costs nothing to subscribe, but you can keep up with all things Roger Stone there. And then, as I said earlier, every Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern, I now have a show at WABC Radio in New York. if you don't live in the greater New York area, you can go to wabcradio.com and listen there.
Well, with that said, Mr. Stone, again, thank you so much. And I'll be talking with you through text now since I got your number. I'll be picking your brain on a couple things, but thank you so much for your time.
Well, Wayne, it's a great honor to be on your show, and please know I'm available to you anytime. I would love to come back, and next time we'll have video. So
awesome.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Mr. Roger Stone, here on the Wayne Dupree Show. We're getting ready to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more about the Hunter Biden situation and all of these crappers that have been in the chat room. We'll be right back.
Biden and his cronies have lost over $3 trillion of America's retirement savings in 2022 alone. With inflation running rampant and the stock market crashing, do you have a plan to protect your wealth? Our friends at American Alternative Assets help you protect your retirement savings by rolling over your IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. Fact is, you can hold physical gold and silver in your retirement account while maintaining its tax-deferred status. Visit protectfrombiden.com today to get your free wealth protection guide. This guide will give you all the answers you need. American Alternative Assets is an A+ and accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. Protect your savings now before it's too late. Visit protectfrombiden.com. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. It's a crazy world out there, and we're facing more uncertainty than our country has faced in a long time, if ever. And the most important advice that we can give you and your loved ones is be prepared. Most people don't realize they need something until it's too late, whether it's a natural disaster, a sustained power outage, political upheaval, or God forbid, war. You need to be prepared. Don't put yourself in that situation. Have food and water on hand to provide for you and your loved ones during the worst of times, and then pray you never need it. Thankfully, we have just the solution for you. Heaven's Harvest has everything you need to prepare for the unexpected. You get prepared, and you support a pro-America Christian company that shares your values at the same time. Everyone wins. And the best news is, you also get discounts on emergency survival foods, heirloom vegetable seed kits, water filtration and storage kits, and loads of other survival resources, such as guides on how to grow and preserve your foods. So get ahead, be prepared, and survive with a company that shares your values. And we have you covered with great discounts. Go to heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10%. Again, that's heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10% on your order.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program here on Red Voice Media Network. My name is Wayne Dupree, the host of the Wayne Dupree podcast, along with Mr. J.R. Robinson.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Hutch is on assignment today up in the foothills of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, wherever, up there in the mountains, doing his little Grizzly Adams Swiss Family Robinson thing. You know, we were talking about, let me tell you something. I don't know where, because usually I don't, and don't get mad when I say this. I look at the comments during the show. I don't stay in the comments during the show because we have to do the show. So when I look over the comments and I see certain things in the comment section, I'm like, what the heck is going on in the comment section? And it looked like somebody was just spamming the comment section.
Yeah, so on the show, I try to keep up on the comments and post the links and that. It gets kind of tough on some of the platforms because it doesn't all stream, so you got to go window to window. But yeah, on I think a couple of the Facebook pages, we had just spammers just dropping links. So if y'all ever see that, like, you know, you can feel free to drop us a note and we'll try to take them down so they don't pollute the feed. But yeah, somebody that they'll hop into shows and then they'll drop their own comments. Oh my God, is that who I think it is, Wayne?
That's exactly who you think it is. That's That's Cleo.
Miss Cleo.
That's Cleo. Come here, Cleo. Look.
I got to say, I think Cleo's a fan favorite. I mean, I
think
don't know if
so,
you were
too.
looking at the last comments last
Really?
time she made an appearance. Yeah, people were loving Cleo.
Cleo is such a beautiful cat, and she, I don't know, she gets me sometimes. But and speaking about cats, this dude has 9 lives, man. Hunter Biden, and
Well, and here's the audacity of it too. Well, people are going to act, oh, see, nothing to see here. We didn't even get to see the evidence that what they did. Like, we didn't get to see the charges. Literally, they haul them in and they negotiate a deal privately, and they kill all the charges. It is beyond ridiculous.
And we won't get to see the charges. You know why?
Right.
Because it's probably sealed,
Yeah, we won't get to see what the plea deal was. We won't get to see what other components of the deal were, that kind of thing. So I got to say, the only hope I have is that part of the deal was we're going to stop, because this is tax related, which ties to Burisma and foreign influence and CCP. I'm just hoping there was something in there that said Joe Biden will step out of running for president. Oh my God. For those who aren't watching the video, Miss Cleo in the camera is epic. Hey, before we get going too far too, I would like to give a shout out to our Red Voice Media family member. For those who don't know, Matt Couch, who is usually in the 1:00 time slot on Red Voice Media, he is in the hospital with sounds like some pretty serious complications with blood clots. So make sure you keep Matt Couch in your prayers. We at the show here, really wish him well. And if you do follow him on social media, I know on Twitter, him and some of the people are giving regular updates. Sounds like he's going in for surgery today. So we hope he's back up on his feet soon.
Let me bring us back to
Hunter
Biden.
Hunter Biden apparently has reached a tentative deal with federal prosecutors to plead guilty to 2 minor tax crimes and admit to the facts of a gun charge under terms that would likely keep him out of jail. That's according to the Washington Post and court papers that have been filed as of today, Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. Hunter Biden, age 53, might appear in court to enter a plea on that. Any proposed deal, I'm reading now, any proposed deal would have to be approved by a federal judge. It's not immediately clear as to whether or not Hunter Biden might appear in court to enter his guilty plea. That's what we're breaking right now. In a nutshell, that is the.
What do y'all think about that? Y'all are out there. Y'all are out there in the comment section. What do y'all think about that? We got
we have some comments we can't read.
Really?
And I think from what I've read, Amber, a stupid gun charge, and that was a felony for any of the rest of us.
Yeah, that's true.
James Ordano, F you, and you know who you are. He and you are not above the law, you low-life scum. You will have your day in kangaroo court. People are claiming, Kathy, this is one of my favorites. I hate the Biden family with every fiber of my body.
See, because it's not only do they get off on this, but there's also the rumors and the allegations of them getting all this money. So not only to get off this, they got money, they rich, and it's like the American people, real American people that really care about this country is just getting tired of it. That anybody out there that is saying that there's no such thing as a 2-tier justice system is crazy.
Well, yeah, and it's funny, in our lifetime, like we saw the Clinton presidency, and when he went into the White House, I'm like, here's some hillbilly from Arkansas, and then it ended up like being the most corrupt presidency that you've seen. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Monica Lewinsky stuff was like bad judgment, and he lied and whatnot. But if you look at all the back end, all the property dealings, all that, and then Hillary goes on to be. It's remarkable how many people commit suicide that had business dealings with them, but that'd be a conspiracy theorist. And Obama did all sorts of crazy stuff, but I mean, he was more attacking the country. But in our lifetime, I can't identify a family that has had more corruption top to bottom than Joe Biden and the Biden family.
Clintons. They got a death count.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
Clinton's
serious.
got the body count.
That's serious.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, of crime families in America, Biden's have to be in the top 5. But I mean, in the history of America, with Clinton's being in the top 2. But because you got some serious mob families, and I don't know whether you want to throw the Corleones in there, but
and some of this stuff is just so in your face that they don't even care. I mean, that's what just baffles me is like the other day when they were asking Joe Biden about like how much he, like, well, where's the money was his answer to the question about the Burisma stuff. And it's like, you guys know darn well you're not going to, I mean, it's like your kid when they knew you weren't going to punish them, where they just look at you and they're like, whatever. What are you going to do about it, Dad?
We were briefly talking about RFK Jr., right? And I got, ladies News Nation. I don't know whether y'all watch them. I have, and they are more down the middle than any other networks that are out there right now. News Nation. They're gonna have a town hall with RFK, which is kind of cool. Hopefully they do one with Trump. Speaking of town hall, there was a interview that went on with Trump and Brent Baird.
Oh,
I mean, okay. First off, what do you think about that? Because I want to say something on the other side of that. What do you think about that interview?
Well, I'm going to say 2 things about it. One, I have not watched Fox News since they fired Tucker Carlson, so I have not watched the full interview. I did watch a couple clips of it that were shared on social media, and the one I found was really interesting, which was the one that people were saying was like the gotcha about the document. So an interesting thing developing in the document case is the DOJ saying they can't let the jury or anybody see the documents because they're classified, so they might not be able to prosecute them and they'll have to drop charges. And Trump claimed in that interview that what he had was a memo that stated the existence of an attack plan, not the actual plan, which if that's true, like the memo saying this attack plan exists would be a classified document, but it's a whole different narrative than if he's got the actual attack plan. So I thought that was kind of an interesting twist. That was one of the clips I saw, but what did you think about it?
I was watching some of the responses from people and they were mad at Brett Baer for basically doing his job. I have to say that that Brett Baer basically is doing his job. Now he's doing it for Fox News, and I know I stopped watching Fox News a long time ago, but don't be mad at somebody just asking Trump. Trump can take care of it. All right. Don't be mad at it. Trump can take care of it. Now, notice Trump didn't get mad at Brett Baer for asking. He just answered the question. Imagine if Ron DeSantis was sitting out there. Ron DeSantis would have got an attitude. I was
going to say, I wish the way the media and the legal system have gone after Trump was the standard for anybody running for president.
I do too.
So if you're going to say like, this is how we go after him legally, these are the difficult questions we ask them, and that's the bar. So everybody running for president gets treated like that, I'm in. Oh,
that's the bar. Is it behind the bar?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, like the problem isn't that they go after Trump. It's that they go after Trump and ignore everything else. Right. If you want to say this is how we treat politicians, like I think lock them all up. Yeah. I mean, you go back to the Bushes, like let's get them in jail. Obama drone strikes, killing American citizens, lock them up. I'm good.
Here is Donald Trump with Brett Baer last night.
You in 2020 and so far is a hard no for you in 2024. But what do you say to that?
Looking at the right polls.
What do you say to that female independent suburban voter who feels that way, to win her back?
First of all, I won in 2020 by a lot, okay?
Let's get that straight. I won in 2020.
You know that
and if you look at all
that's
of the
not
tapes,
what
if
the
you look
vote
at
showed.
everything that you want to look at, you take a look at Truth to Vote, where they have people stuffing the ballot boxes on tapes, or
Mr. President,
let's
that
go
was
to
all
recent.
looked
Well, wait a
into.
minute. Let's go to recent. FBI Twitter. Let's go to recent. The 51 agents, all corrupt stuff, Brett.
Understand about the
All-
Hunter Biden,
No, but
all
that's cheating
fair
on the
things,
election.
but
Brett, that's cheating on the
You
election.
lost the 2020 election.
Brett, you take a look at all of the stuff ballots. You take a look at all of the things, including things like the 51 intelligence
There
agents.
were recounts in all of the swing states. There was not significant widespread
We're trying
fraud.
to get recounts, real
There were
recounts, not just
investigations,
numbers of votes
widespread
cast.
corruption. There was not a sense of that. There were lawsuits, more than 50 of them, by your lawyers, some in front of
Brett, are you
judges that you appointed.
Look at Wisconsin.
That came out with no
Wisconsin
evidence.
Brett, Wisconsin has practically admitted it was rigged. Other states are doing the same right now, and it's continuing.
There have
It
been
was
reviews
a
of
rigged
every
election.
potential case of voter fraud in 6 battleground states, and they found fewer than 475 cases.
You know why?
that
Because
was
they
not
didn't
affected.
look at the right things.
Okay,
Brett.
are you going
they
to
were
be-
counting? They were counting ballots, not the authenticity of the ballot. The ballots were fake ballots. You had this
I
was
asked,
a very rigged
Are you
election.
going to go? This is how you're going to tell that independent suburban woman voter
No.
to vote for
We're
you?
off to winning an election, and I think we're winning very well. I got a poll just recently. I have it here. I'd
No,
show
I
you.
know, and I watched
But
the
I've
numbers.
shown you every poll. I showed you where we're leading by tremendous numbers, and
polls
we're
change.
leading with women, huh?
You know polls change. I mean, they changed in 2016 to your favor,
I thought I was doing well from the beginning, but you know.
but they changed the
Yeah.
polls. What did you learn from your first term that you took from, and changes that you would make if you get elected?
I would like to be less combative, but I find the press is extremely dishonest. And if I'm not combative, I don't get my word across. If I'm not combative, I don't know. I don't think you could win. I think, regardless me or somebody else, if somebody else got the nomination, these radical left maniacs would come after them at a level like you've never seen before, and they're not going to be able to withstand it.
You can be mad with Brett for the way that he did it, but Trump still got his information out. That's what I look at. You know what I'm saying? Trump still got his information out. Well, I mean, everybody's not going to agree with Trump. Everybody's not going to agree with it, especially Fox News, who just went through that $800 billion dollar thing. So, but notice Brett had to go to another thing, and he said the reason why I do this because I got to, because I got to get my point across, because if not, y'all ain't gonna let me talk. You ain't gonna let me say something. So, I gotta come with the receipts. You know what I'm saying?
There was a time in America where we roundly celebrated media for asking tough questions, getting in people's faces. I mean, Laura Loomer 20 years ago, like, she's very confrontational. We love Laura Loomer.
She would have been big time. Yeah.
But I mean, she wouldn't have been an outlier. She wouldn't have been the, oh my gosh, I can't believe Laura Loomer got in somebody's face. She would have been all up in there. I mean, where's the camera right now today? Ron DeSantis wants to be president of the United States. Where's he coming out and saying this is crap? Like, how did they let Hunter skate? Like, that's ridiculous. You guys want to be president. And it's funny, if you remember Mitt Romney election, they accused him of being, Mitt Romney is the most boring man ever. I mean, I don't know what his corruption level is.
He got his binders though, man.
I was going to say, yeah, the man made binders of female candidates so that he could have female staff members, and they played it up like he was like shopping for Russian brides. And you're going to throw him in chains and all this stuff. Like, what are they going to do if it's a candidate unlike Trump that can't both take a punch and throw a punch? You know what they're going to do is they're going to lose by 3-4%, and they're going to say, gosh, guys, Biden's destroying the country again. We really need to start rallying, send us some money so we can get ready for 2028.
Yeah, 2028. I still look, the quiet ones right now are probably looking at 28. the quiet ones in the GOP, they're probably looking at 2028 because they're not really going after Trump like Christie or DeSantis. And the more you want to go after Trump right now, in the way he is, you're turning off Trump voters, number one. But you're not helping yourself for a later election. I did say this. Chris probably don't care. Christie knows he'll never be oh, you know what, too? I know what I meant to say. Christie's mad because of one particular situation. He has never been able to forgive Trump for this. He was going to be vice president.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump changed his mind. And that's why he's pissed off. Chris, you know it. Come on, baby. Tell the truth. Shame the devil and tell the truth, Chris. You mad because President Trump didn't pick you as VP. You were sitting in the car and you found out that it was going to be somebody else. I remember that like it was yesterday. You were sitting in the car.
And he says, I got good news and bad news for you.
He was in the motorcade and whatnot. He found out he wasn't going to be vice president. That's crazy. That is nuts.
Well, can I just say too? I think either Wayne Dupree or Jason Robertson both have a greater chance of ever becoming president of the United States than Chris Christie. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't give myself much of a chance above zero. I mean, I think it's pretty small, but I'm saying I still will have more of a chance.
For a couple weeks, you might poll above 2%. But
I might have a hot debate. I might drop a couple one-liners. I mean,
you need a tie though.
What?
You need a tie though.
John Fetterman has lowered the bar where I can show up in a hoodie and jorts.
No,
come on.
Well, okay. Well, guess what? If you do that, then you will have to adopt a speech impediment.
Right. I gotta get a big lump on the back of my head and trains.
If instructor friend,
you could be my VP, you could do the Joe Biden creepy whisper. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, people.
That's
we're gonna fix this country.
That is a pedophile whisper if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, what do you trust more, like dollar store sushi or Joe Biden watching your kids? Like, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You know what's interesting too, talking about DeSantis? I saw an article yesterday where it's amazing how much information's out there about the big money donors that they just aren't gonna support Trump, and they are going all in. And they were talking about where they got DeSantis to run, saying Trump's going to get all these indictments and he's going to get wiped off the board. And then we need somebody ready to go. So that's why we're supporting DeSantis. But in DeSantis, he just took the stacks of silver. But like Roger Stone said, he has a 0% chance of winning the general.
DeSantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know that because honestly, I was saying this yesterday. Donald Trump is more to the center than DeSantis.
Right.
He picked up Democrats and independents. You can't, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care who you are. If you are far left or far right, you are not winning the general. Like you're not doing it. That's why Bernie is gone. Who's his name? Biden. And well, the reason why Biden is in there because Biden was a safe choice because he's not all upstairs, but he's not far left. He never was far left. Yeah, Biden has never been far left. Now, right. He's taken up some of the. They've kind of hijacked. Well, he let himself be hijacked, and he's passed some far left type of stuff, but he's not far left.
Right. He's a politician.
Right.
He just goes where the money is.
Right. Or his bank account, you can check that out. Donald Trump is not far right. Donald Trump is more to the center than what y'all think. There's a whole lot of things, and you know, he plus he's a get along person. People to the extreme don't get along except for the people that they are to the extreme with.
Right.
They don't get along with it, the regular people, because they're like, man, you too weak. We need to take over. We need to do that. We need to do that, you know, type of thing. Ron DeSantis is running to the right of Donald Trump. And well, I mean, it's not just him. Chris Christie is running to the right of Donald Trump. Well, no, he's not. No, he's not.
Here's the thing, though. It's not just about policy.
Right. He's
President Trump lost the 2020 election by a total of 76,000 votes across 4 states. That's how close it was. And they threw the kitchen sink at him. He had COVID. He had mail-in ballots. He had Hunter Biden laptop. He had media. He was suppressed on. He had everything thrown at him. And he lost by 76,000 votes across 4 states. That's the difference. And I would argue that, you know, there's a solid 25 to 30% of the Republican base that's just going to support Trump. And that base, there's at least half of those. So you're talking 10, 15% that is not going to support an establishment candidate, period. End of sentence.
Well, I mean, look, I made the determination back in 2016 when Donald Trump had joined the race, because I say this, when I say I was on board from the beginning, I was on board after about a couple weeks into the beginning, because I told myself I would never vote for a House member or a person from the Senate, because for 8 years, I rallied against, I protested, I slammed, I blasted, I called out how Democrats could elect somebody that didn't have experience in running a state or having an executive background. Most of the people that are up there right now, they're glorified debaters. That's it. Right. They just and they're not even good at that. But you have to have some type of business experience or some type of executive experience about how things run, how you create jobs. You have to get rid of jobs. You work with the unions. You work with racial issues on your job. You work with short. And to me, I was with a couple of the governors who got out early. And the only one saw left was Donald Trump. Donald Trump was it. Donald Trump was it. And I was on that bandwagon right after that. And it's like, who best to even think about voting for? Because I remember when I was younger, when I was in the military, I remember Donald Trump. I remember the name. It was all up in lights. It was with the Tyson boxing thing and Trump Hotel,
WrestleMania.
Trump. Oh man, I mean, it was Trump, and then all of a sudden he went away for a couple of years. You really didn't see him. He got in. I mean, his some of the businesses got in trouble.
Yeah, he went bankrupt. He lost all his money, or a lot of it.
But when he came back, it seemed like he was bigger than what he was before when he left. I was like, who else better to lead the country? He shows you what success is. He shows you what happens, and just like regular Americans, you hit a snag, but then you come back on the other side and you show yourself better than ever. And that's what America is about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more here on the Wayne Dupree podcast. Jason Robinson, Wayne Dupree, here on Red Voice Media Network. We'll be right back.
Biden and his cronies have lost over $3 trillion of America's retirement savings in 2022 alone. With inflation running rampant and the stock market crashing, do you have a plan to protect your wealth? Our friends at American Alternative Assets help you protect your retirement savings by rolling over your IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. Fact is, you can hold physical gold and silver in your retirement account while maintaining its tax-deferred status. Visit protectfrombiden.com today to get your free wealth protection guide. This guide will give you all the answers you need. American Alternative Assets is an A+ and accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. Protect your savings now before it's too late. Visit protectfrombiden.com. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. It's a crazy world out there, and we're facing more uncertainty than our country has faced in a long time, if ever. And the most important advice that we can give you and your loved ones is be prepared. Most people don't realize they need something until it's too late, whether it's a natural disaster, a sustained power outage, political upheaval, or God forbid, war. You need to be prepared. Don't put yourself in that situation. Have food and water on hand to provide for you and your loved ones during the worst of times, and then pray you never need it. Thankfully, we have just the solution for you. Heaven's Harvest has everything you need to prepare for the unexpected. You get prepared, and you support a pro-America Christian company that shares your values at the same time. Everyone wins. And the best news is you also get discounts on emergency survival foods, heirloom vegetable seed kits, water filtration and storage kits, and loads of other survival resources, such as guides on how to grow and preserve your foods. So get ahead, be prepared, and survive with a company that shares your values. And we have you covered with great discounts. Go to heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10%. Again, that's heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10% on your order.
Welcome back to the Wayne Dupree podcast here on the Red Voice Media Network. We broadcast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I want to thank everybody that is tuned in. You know, I got a message from Facebook just a few minutes ago. I contacted them about the
Reach.
Yeah, and they said we appreciate your kind patience and understanding as we work further in resolving your issue on your page views and reach. I'm sending you this email to let you know that our specialized team is still looking into our concern and is making sure that we remain thorough as possible in the steps we're taking to fully resolve the issue. While we have made significant progress in the investigation, we would also like you to know if there are any improvements on your end by letting us know if the issue is persisting. So I just responded to him. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm sort of seeing a little better share numbers now on Facebook, and it's kind of awesome to see the show kind of have a little bit higher numbers to start off.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about that a lot on the show, but you know, hey folks, for those who support our work, like what we do, like, comment, share. It's the best thing you can do to beat the algorithm. It was funny when I got out of regular retail and started doing digital marketing, computer stuff. It was astounding how they suppress conservative voices, and they don't do it like you think they would.
No, they don't.
So you think they would say, okay, hey, Alex Jones, we hit the button and you're gone. And that's the perception everybody has in their mind. Well, no, what happens is Wayne Dupree, who on your big Facebook page, you got 800,000 people or something. And those are folks that was grown all organically too. Let's put this in perspective. 800,000 people said, I'm going to go find Wayne's page and I'm going to hit the like and button and follow his page. And he'll drop a post with an article from his website or the show. And that will get sent to 5,000-10,000 of the people on the page. Right. So 800,000 people logged on, subscribed to his page organically. and
is, yeah.
and Facebook's going to show it to 5 or 10,000 people. So if they don't, and even in some people that set up the notifications, like, hey, I want to make sure I watch your show on Facebook every day. Let me hit the notification button, and then I'll get pinged like, oh, hey, Wayne show started. Let me go turn it on.
Right.
And even those people all of a sudden will magically get unsubscribed or that kind of thing. And I worked with both conservative and left-leaning sites, and I can tell you it would be hysterical because I talked to the left-leaning side. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm working with this guy, and he's running into this or that or the other thing. And on the other side, and these weren't far lefties; these were kind of central, little Democrat-y, and they're like, I never have that happen. I never magically have followers disappear. I never have my notifications not go out, and it's a game.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the show or you go to the website, because of the message that we share, like advertisers just they don't pay as much for traffic to our pages, just because and it's kind of a soft suppression thing, which is why it's important that everybody hits like, comment, share. So
that's exactly what it is. It's a soft suppression. And if you have never been to WayneDupree.com, make sure that you go there. I was looking at what has happened back in 2020, because it's we've always ran a small operation. We haven't had a large operation. It's really been maybe about 2 or 3. Yeah, I know it. People probably think it's like, oh man, you got a whole lot. No, it's usually been about 2 or 3, and a website guy that hosted and ran it. Okay. That started back in 2020. We were doing about maybe close to 4 or 5 million page views a month. Page views. And then NewsGuard came out and decided, you are giving information that is not that doesn't go along with what the mainstream media is. So basically, you're dangerous. You're giving misinformation. So they added our name to the misinformation websites, and our ability to earn to keep broadcasting or to keep our website going. That was basically cut in half in 2021. Basically, if I were to tell you that I was on Cans and Beans last September, last October, that would not be a full. That's not a stretch. That's that's
a little bit of ramen worked in there.
Ramen too, and ramen is bad. Look, ramen is bad because that's a lot of sodium in that stuff. Yeah, I remember eating 2 things of ramen one time, and my heart started going boom, 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 boom. I mean, it almost felt like my heart was coming out of my chest. I was like, man, what's going on with me? What's going on? I was like, never again.
You just had enough sodium to pickle yourself, Wayne Dupree.
I was like, never again. I'm not doing it. But if there's one thing that you've seen with the Wayne Dupree show is we don't go on a binge it tear and beg y'all for money. Just don't do it. I mean, look, God takes care of us. How he takes care of us, and that's just how I've dealt with things. But
it's funny because that was one thing I wanted to talk about, not just the show, but just for conservatives. After this Hunter Biden thing hit, the question's really, what are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? And okay, you have no more clear evidence of 2-tier justice system. Like last week, Thomas Massey came out. He wasn't going to fine Adam Schiff because technically it's not constitutional. How long are Republicans and conservatives? I mean, folks like us, like when they knocked Wayne Show down, he said, screw it. I'm going to try plan B, and I'm going to try doing something different. And like, we don't quit. That's why we love Trump. The fact he's had multiple bankruptcies, we love that. Because everybody watching this show has had tight money, or they thought something was going to work and it really screwed up, and you just scrape yourself off, get back up and go do it. But what are Republicans going to do now that they can see more clearly than ever? I mean, seriously, why are we not voting on articles of impeachment for Joe Biden?
Yeah,
I mean, it's simple. Mayorkas, how much worse does he have to do at the border?
man, that Mayorkas thing is I still can't believe that thing about how incompetent he is.
Right.
I mean, well, I'm not saying that we joke about it and stuff, but we do joke about how Democrats are dumb and stuff. But I mean, they have taken dumb to a new level. This is nuts, and they're not even running away from it.
Right.
There was a congresswoman, Stacey Placid. Somebody always told me, whatever on your heart is going to come out of your mouth.
Yep.
So think about what you say before you say it. It's always a good thing. Think about what you're going to say before you say it. This woman on a national television show is going to basically say that Donald Trump needs to be shot. Now, she caught herself, but you know what was in her heart.
Right.
Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans. Mm-hmm. And he needs to be stopped.
Whoa. That's dangerous. That's dangerous because mostly all of the mental institutions are shut down in America.
Yep.
Some idiot is going to see that. And then his dog is going to start talking to him. You know?
Well, and here's what's crazy too. I mean, let's talk about this. Let's break down her statement. Nobody knows what's in these frickin' documents, period.
No.
Other than law enforcement and President Trump. So anybody making any comments about what they are, you know what? Maybe we'll see the documents when it goes to court and it's really the nuclear code or the attack plan or the address of some person. And I'll change my opinion and go, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But if you notice, they use this language like classified and that sort of thing. I mean, when you're in the military, well, like somebody's lunch menu could be classified. I mean, seriously, like the term classification documents is such a broad reaching thing. But people like this, and that's what the right has to understand. She, in her mind, is battling Hitler. She is battling somebody who's trying, and she is 100% convinced of it, or at least a lot of them are. You hook her to a lie detector and say, who's worse, Trump or Hitler? Well, I think Hitler. And there's people on the left that feel that way. And that excuses any behaviors that they do, because what wouldn't you do to stop Hitler? And that's why we have to quit living in this paradigm where on the right, like, oh, we got to play nice and stuff. Dude, they want to lock you up and shut you down. And you can say they're not coming for you. Oh, I didn't have classified documents. I guarantee everybody watching this show did something sketchy on their taxes. I guarantee everybody on this show like has broken some sort of rule or law. I mean, President Trump's facing 32 counts or whatever it is in New York for paperwork error, or how he coded the Stormy Daniels money. Like, really, you're telling me you've never said, do I code my taxes like this or that? You know, really. So it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we see so much crazy stuff here on the show, but that being shot thing, you aren't talking to the smartest people. Well, in America, there's some real hurting people out there, and you would think that some accountability and she didn't even apologize.
No,
she didn't even apologize. That's okay though. That's okay. Beware of you calling the dogs on somebody, because those same dogs will be your downfall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Well, and that is kind of the problem, like when we did all the Patriot Act stuff again in 9/11 and the FISA courts and all that. Like at the time, we thought that was smart because we had to shut down the terrorists. Well, now that's just being leveraged against Americans, And think of this too. There's hundreds, thousands of people that are sitting in DC jail for 2 years without a trial for walking into the Capitol. And Hunter Biden, with all that filth and crime on his laptop, is going to spend 0 days in jail. And tell me we don't live in a banana republic.
Well, I'm looking here. The DOJ prosecutor denies the Hunter Biden camp's claim that the case is closed after the plea deal. Says the investigation is ongoing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they're going to say that because they want to create the impression that they're still resolving this. I mean, these charges that he's being accused of, those could have been investigated, charged within minutes. I mean, within a couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, the laptop came out before the last election and the stuff was on there. The FBI got a copy of it. And that's where most of the stuff's coming from. They could have totally already had it done. So yeah, I mean, they'll keep it open to keep the impression that, oh, hey, we're doing something. I mean, it's kind of like the congressional hearings, oh, we're going to get up there and we're going to yell at people. We're going to send them a nasty note. I mean, they're going to introduce the censure Adam Schiff thing this week. Okay, so congratulations. You just gave him a naughty note. Maybe you'll call him a name next. I'm sure that'll really change his behavior.
The deal, what's this guy's name? The DOJ guy?
Which one? Jack Smith?
Jack Smith. Jack Smith said he wanted a fast trial. This thing is coming fast, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming fast. Oh, and by the way, I read something last week. You know how Hutch said that he feels like this is a setup for the January 6th.
Oh,
thing?
yeah, totally.
Jack Smith's working the January 6th thing too.
Right.
He's working.
Well, he's not the lead investigator. Like he supervises and he's got teams. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he's working on it. So he's like next door. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whatever information we got here, we share it over here, and boom, boom. Donald Trump's federal trial for the classified documents seized at Mar-a-Lago will not be held in Miami as.
Oh, really?
It will be held now at Fort Pierce. Judge Eileen Cannon, U.S. District Judge, scheduled a trial to begin on August 14th in her courtroom, which is honestly just like only a couple days before the debates.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to ask.
They're setting things up, boy. They come on, Jay. They are really setting things up now.
Well, I mean, just a couple things there. I mean, that's why I asked Roger Stone, because I think Trump's attorneys need to agree to the expedited date, which means they think either nothing's going to happen for it or they think it's a slam dunk, would be my opinion. I don't know if that's the case. But like Hutch said last week, I was chatting with some guys this morning that I work with, and like there's 4 charges. So the Braggs one in New York, Trump's going to pay a fine for some paperwork error, and that's going to be done. I think the document one, I think they're going to have a hard time getting anything to stick with that. There's just too much precedent, and anytime when like leading legal minds can't understand how the law should be interpreted because you got conflicting laws, like I think that would be difficult. The Georgia one I think is pretty weak too. They're going to say when Trump said, we need to find 12,000 votes, that he was telling him to make them up. Trump's going to say, no, I kept getting kicked out of court for standing. And that's why we only need to show that there's 12,000 fraudulent votes to go to court. So that one should be kind of a nothing burger. But the January 6th one, I was dismissing that until the Proud Boys got convicted. And once they convicted the Proud Boys of seditious conspiracy or whatever that was,
and Oath Keepers.
And the Oath Keepers. Yeah. And if you look at those cases, they're saying that there's a good chance they get overturned on appeal or that sort of thing. And the facts of the case were really weak. But here's the thing. They got to get that case into court before the appeals of the other guys, because then they'll get to tell the jury there's already these other groups that we've convicted of sedition or whatever the charge was. And President Trump was one that encouraged that. So if they wait till the appeals get done and they get flipped, then, and that charge, like they can convict Trump of a felony and he can still run for president, but that January 6th one's the only one that really has charges that would prevent him from running.
And I mean, and believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I do want you to know the severity of what possibly could have, because all they need is one.
Yep.
They can dismiss all of what Jay was talking about, but they just need one, because basically all of these have felony charges attached to it. They just need one. And that's why, I mean, if you watch these shows, these lawyer shows or whatnot, or even crime shows, they'll tell you, oh, we came up with 50 charges. We know all of them ain't gonna stick. One of them is.
They just need one.
Yeah. Who is it? Turley said he's got to run the table. Even Roger Stone said that he's got to run the table. You got to be now. I'm not saying that he's not lucky. You got to be a lucky son of a gun to run the whole entire table. Can it happen? Sure. Is it a possibility? Maybe. But on the other side of that, you got more. You got two in New York. There are 2 cases against him in New York.
What's the other one?
Lita James. Lita James is the second one. His business.
Oh, yeah.
So you got 2 in New York. And
that man pays lawyers a lot. He's kind of like James O'Keefe. Like they get freaking flyer miles on their lawyer bills.
Yeah. You be like, man, how much money you got? I ain't got nothing, man. Everything gone to the lawyers. Everything.
Well, and it's true too. If you look at, I mean, if we ever got to see their profit and loss statements, I bet their lawyer fees, and that's what people gotta realize too. To use General Flynn as an example, they charge him with some ridiculous law that nobody's used for 200 years, and then they knew that it was never going to stick. But they got Trump to fire him with Pence's encouragement. And then they just stuck him in court and they just kept running up lawyer bills and running up lawyer bills. The guy was like 200. He had to sell his house. He was 200,000, I think, in legal bill debt. And what are you going to do? You're facing, felony convictions and being locked up for years. And I mean, it's called lawfare. And that's what, and Democrats, frankly, are way better at it than Republicans. And that's why, like Hutch always says, like, when are we going to see some of these AGs out there that are conservative filing charges?
That's what I said. I was like, we need some Republican AGs to bring Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and some of the past people up on charges.
Yep.
But they won't do it. I mean, look, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Wayne Dupree podcast here on Red Voice Media Network. Remember, go to redvoicemedia.com and also subscribe for premium content. A lot of voices over there. It runs the gambit on what you can learn, what you need to know. They can educate you. They can bring you up to date with current events. Drew is running a nice operation over there. But just use the promo code Wayne so that you can get in there and you won't be disappointed. Jay, give me some last thoughts.
Well, I was going to say it's one of the big things you talked about with Red Voice Media is, as we learn, probably the most successful thing conservatives have done in the last 6 years was these boycotts between Bud Light and the movies, the woke movies are crashing, and those just aren't right-wing things, but support companies that support your value. And that's why Red Voice Media is important. Everybody's been asking us for years, I can't watch Fox News. What can I watch? Who can I watch?
Right.
Red Voice Media streams all day long. All day there's different dudes with different perspectives and different opinions. But every time I've watched one of the shows, I'm like, that's cool. I learned something. I didn't know about that. I mean, there's great guys. I mean, Colonel Rob Maness, he's one of my favorite people to listen to. Like, you want to know what's going on in the military? Listen to Colonel Rob Maness. Like, he gives you a great breakdown. He gives you some Ukraine updates. So if you haven't checked out Red Voice Media and the Rumble channel, I would encourage you to do it. I throw it on in the background when I'm doing work from home. A second thing I'd say is today should make everybody feel queasy because the two-tier justice system is no more evident than what you'll see today. But kind of, as I like to talk about media spin and narrative, you're going to see the media spin in full control, where they're going to come out and say, and then we all saw what was on the laptop. We all saw it, like, or a lot of us did. If you didn't, drop me a DM and I'll send you the link. Like, it's online. And there was actually one dude that made a book of it, Wayne. He made it he printed it all out, and he made it like kind of like a comic book. You could order it. I didn't get a copy yet because then it would be kiddie porn or something they'd charge me with. But yeah, I mean, it's terrible crimes on there, and the fact that it was never public, we never saw what was on it, and that he gets out with the skate is just beyond ridiculous. So, and then last thing is, thanks for everybody tuning in. We really appreciate the support. It means a lot to us. And to always take a sec to like, comment, and share the show. It really helps us get the word out. And we do this because we're trying to do our part to help America. So it's an honor to have you listen to us.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Coming up, make sure, like Jay said, they broadcast over there all day long on the Red Voice Media Network. Just don't turn your channel. Don't hit your back button. Just let it go to the next show. Until then, we'll see you tomorrow. God bless.